Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Jeff Gorell, candidate for Congress in the 26th Congressional District. I want to first start by thanking the Conejo Valley and the Simi Valley Republican Federated for organizing this every election. It's a fantastic opportunity. I've been honored to serve you and this community in various different ways. First, as a Deputy District Attorney for 7 years. Here in Ventura County, I prosecuted major narcotics crimes. I also prosecuted serious and violent felonies. It was an honor to look out for veterans and protect this community, victims, and to protect this community. I've also served as a local businessman in this community. Had a company, grew employees. I was very active in being an advocate for small businesses. And, small businesses, frankly, need advocates more than ever today. Since 2006, I've also served on the faculty at Cal Lutheran University, where I teach graduate level public policy and in California politics. I've been honored to be a part of that faculty for almost a decade now. And then I also served as a California State Legislator for the 44th Assembly District, representing most of Ventura County, but certainly the Conejo. And I had a great honor doing that and leading this community and being the voice for this community in Sacramento. I'm also a naval officer. I'm a third-generation naval officer. I've served 2 deployments to Afghanistan. I earned a Defense Meritorious Service Medal for leadership in a combat zone, and most recently was embedded with the Marines in Southwest Afghanistan as a targeting officer. But most important to me is the service as a father and as a husband who cares deeply about this community and does what I do what I can to serve, to volunteer in various capacities, including as a member of the Board of Directors for American Red Cross of Ventura County, as well as a past commander of Military Order of World Wars. We help raise money for disabled veterans. I also served as a member of the VFW in Ojai and the American Legion in Moorpark. So for very many years and in very many ways, I'm deeply rooted in this community with myself and my family, and it's been a tremendous, tremendous honor. And I want to take that leadership that I've just explained to you and take it to the next level. I want to take that leadership to Washington, D.C. and serve in the House of Representatives. We need leadership now more than ever. And I presented that leadership in the state capitol. I intend now to take that to the U.S. Capitol. I want to tell you a few things about my record as a member of the California State Legislature. I want you to know that I have a 100% vote record with the California Chamber of Commerce, and I serve as the Vice Chairman of the Assembly Budget Committee. I am the ranking Republican on all fiscal issues as they relate to budgeting and on taxes and all of these issues, and that's not a terribly easy job in a state that is over-regulated, over-legislated, over-litigated, and over-taxed. It is a tremendous fight in Sacramento, and it's not easy. But we've had some successes, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of those successes in fighting waste, fraud, and abuse. I authored legislation that was successfully passed that repeals a retroactive tax on hundreds of small business investors in the state of California. It was the largest retroactive tax in California state history. Now you may be asking yourself, what are we doing in imposing a retroactive tax on small business investors? Well, that's exactly what we had to ask when the Franchise Tax Board imposed that tax. This bill received national attention, forced the governor's hand, and ultimately he signed the bill that unwound that retroactive tax. Another one that prohibited the state of California from ever again imposing a retroactive tax on taxpayers was defeated, unfortunately. But we did win that one battle, although we lost the war. I want to tell you that the Los Angeles Times uncovered that 12 agencies were doing something that was probably criminal. And I led the fight as a ranking member on the Fiscal Committee in the State Assembly to unwind what we call moonlighting. And that was during the economic downturn. The state put a freeze on all pay increases for state employees. Now that kind of makes sense to you, I suppose, because many of you who own businesses probably put a freeze on your employees, their salaries. Well, what bureaucrats were doing in 12 different agencies was they were, instead of giving raises, because they weren't allowed to, there was a moratorium, they were paying one person 2 different salaries. So it was one person receiving 2 paychecks for the same work, in the same day, in the same building, behind the same desk, doing the same job. They like to call that moonlighting. I call that waste, fraud, and abuse. That's the So we introduced a bill. Governor changed his course, and that is now institutionalized, forbidden in the state of California as a result of that. I also worked to negotiate the details of legislation that brought to California for the first time in 35 years a 8-year statewide sales tax exemption on the purchasing of manufacturing equipment. This is one of those things that 48, 49 other states have had, but California has always wanted. The California Manufacturers Association has fought for this every single year. We were able to fight for this legislation this year and get it passed and put us on, finally, somewhat the level playing field with 48 other states to compete for some of these manufacturing jobs that we've lost over and over again. Aerospace. We used to have 7 automobile manufacturers in the state of California. All of these jobs now are sticks in the wind on other states and other nations. This bill helped us get back on a level playing field, and I helped negotiate the final details of that were ultimately signed into law by the governor and passed overwhelmingly. I authored a bill that was recently signed into law that helps our ports expand and compete in the global marketplace of trade and export. And this allowed them to manage their long-term energy costs and allow them to build infrastructure using the California Infrastructure Bank. Maybe you read in the newspaper that I led the effort to appropriate just over $2 million in emergency mitigation funds to Wanimi Beach to protect against the beach erosion that had been caused by the federal government's abandoning of the sand replenishment there. Unfortunately, if this wasn't addressed on time as we did with emergency legislation, that mitigation would have, the failure of mitigation would have resulted in not only the sidewalks and the streets crumbling off into the ocean, but threatened homes and condominiums in Wanimi Beach. Again, trying to show leadership in a state legislature dominated by Democrats when I'm in a superminority is not always an easy task. I also want you to know they introduced a bill this year to address the hundreds of calls that came into my office and other legislators' offices with people complaining about the fact that they had gone on Obamacare Covered California website to inquire about looking into insurance there. They hadn't completed the entire application process, but just submitting the basic information. That information about themselves and their health was released against their own wishes, was released to third-party telemarketers, and then those telemarketers were calling them back at their home, possessing their personal information. Clearly, the government was trying desperately to get more people to sign up, and they weren't thinking about privacy. They weren't thinking about the concern that people have about who else out there has their personal information and their health information. I've introduced a bill, AB 1560, to stop them from sharing individual privacy information without the express consent and acknowledgement of the people that go online to protect their privacy. Thank you. Those are just a cross-section of some of the bills. Also, I had the governor sign a bill that I co-authored that increased the penalties against the worst of the worst in terms of child pornographers and peddlers of child pornography in the state of California. These penalties were extraordinarily low, and the governor agreed and the legislature agreed, and we passed bills to increase those penalties against these child pornographers. But these are not easy things to accomplish as a state legislature when you serve in the superminority. You have to be able to articulate your position. You have to be able to show leadership. You have to be able to get people to follow you with a vision in the direction you want to go. And this is exactly why I'm running for Congress, because our nation's headed in the wrong direction. And I want to represent this community to help get our nation focused in the right direction. We have extraordinary challenges facing not just this community, but our nation and this world in the next few years. And we're going to need a champion for this community, not just a legislator, not just somebody who wears the pen and calls themselves a U.S. representative, but somebody who's a leader, who's a champion, who can stand up and get people to follow them, not just Republicans, but Republicans, Democrats, independents, business, labor, to move this community and this nation forward. Please know that either in 2015 or in 2017, it is an almost inevitability that Navy-based Ventura County will find itself again on the blacklist for closure, as it did 10 years ago and as it did 10 years before that. Here are two Navy bases, Magoo and Wanimi, that were pushed together in the last BRAC, now called Navy-based Ventura County, that have been here since World War II. These communities, our community, our economy, our culture, our family, Ventura County has grown up around these military bases. The idea that these could be closed should shock you, because if you look at other areas of this state, where Navy bases have been closed down, and military bases have been closed down. You look at Hunters Point, you look at Mare Island, you look at Long Beach, you look at Alameda. These places are white. The property values have gone down. The economy has suffered. Unemployment has gone up. Crime has gone up. Gang activity has gone up. Even the opportunity, the possibility that our Navy bases could be closed down should be one of the #1 priorities for this community. And guess what? We've had leaders in this position to stand up and unite the community around defending these Navy bases by making these arguments, by making the national security arguments. We've had Elton Gallagher, we've had Bob Garcina, we've had some tremendous leaders representing us in the House. You need to ask yourself right now, do we currently have in place right now with Julia Brownlee the type of leader who's going to be able to stand up and command respect from the military and the civilian establishment, from Republicans and Democrats, from business and labor, from East County and West County? Is she the champion that's going to be able to stand up and unite this community behind defending these Navy bases, protecting them from closure, and from moving this community and this nation forward? Absolutely not. And that terrifies me. It should terrify you. We need more than that, though, at the national level. We need a balanced budget, like we have in the state of California, or we try to have in the state of California. We need to fight the $100 billion bullet train that is a boondoggle that wasted your money, my money, and every other Californian's money. We're in a position now where our allies no longer trust us and our enemies no longer fear us. We need to respect the U.S. Constitution and make that, again, the priority for moving this country forward, and no other document. Ladies and gentlemen, the 26th Congressional District, now currently held by Julia Brownlee, was held for 75 years by Republicans. It's time to win it back. I hope to earn your support, and I want to share with you what my commanding officer told me, Colonel Burton, in Afghanistan. Marine Corps Colonel, he said, lead the fight from the front, get out of the way. And I intend to lead the fight from the front, and I need you behind me, and I need the support. God bless. Thank you very much.